all your control algorithms you will be implementing in some microcontroller or some digital signal processor. So, for that you need to have a consistent numeric format, or at least you should know which particular equation, which particular numeric format you have done, so that when you are debugging and when you are trying to scan the various registers and accumulators, you will be able to debug and then follow the number patterns, so that you will be able to see where things have gone wrong. And not only that, if you have this consistent number pattern, you can speed up your computation process also. So, let us look at this very important thing. Of course, this is generic in the sense that not that it should be done only for controls. If you are doing anything in the digital domain, you need to adopt this. So, if you take for example a real number in the normal analog sense, you see two very important characters. See, these two characters are, what is it? One is infinite in range, okay. The other one is exactly. So, infinitely dense. So, both these density, what you would call resolution or precision, and the range, extent of the number line on both sides, negative and positive, is infinite. The moment you come into the digital domain, your number of bits are limited. Let us say you are using a 16-bit system. So, your number is limited to that 16 bits. You are using a 8-bit system like you are doing for the microcontroller project that you are doing with the Atmega chip. It is a 8-bit system, right? So, your byte is the limiting factor there, 1 byte. So, in such a case, now we are going into the digital world, we will represent it as a D, as the discrete real number, which has a finite data length. So, again you will have two problems with respect to each of these. Now, you have the infinite range in the case of the analog real number, you will have a problem associated with that, which is you have a finite limit on the upper limit, the max value that you can represent. Anything more than that will result in a overflow error. See, the density problem also has an issue. You have a finite minimum, of course, apart from 0. If you take off 0, then what is the next minimum value that you can, or the difference between the two number, what is the minimum value? That results in the precision. Again, what we call as the resolution is going to get affected. So, by discretizing, these two problems will occur. You have to be conscious of that, and it is always a compromise between these two. So, if I am only having n number of bits, so should I give more number of bits for resolution, or should I give more number of bits for range? These two are the things that always will be conflicting in an application. You have to decide for that application to application how much I want to give for each. Okay. So, let us see the representation. There are two important representations that you see commonly: fixed point system and the floating point system. Both have their advantages, both have their disadvantages. When you look from the computing point of view, the speed of computing, fixed point system is much faster. When you look at computing overheads, the floating point system has more overheads, and I would not prefer it from the computing angle. But when you talk in terms of range, floating point system for a given number of bits can go to a very, very large range, whereas the fixed point is much more limited. So, if you say in a fixed point system what it is, there is a point which is used as it's a imaginary point. So, if I am having, let us say, an 8-bit system like this, I could have an imaginary point somewhere. Okay. So, this is what we would call as the base point. It could be in any base system, it could be a base 10 system, decimal point, what you call, or binary hexadecimal. Now, this base point separates it into two parts. Okay. One is called the fractional part. This is called the fractional part to the right, and to the left is called the integer part. So, this in fact actually gives you the integer part gives you an idea about the range that this particular system can represent. Let us say this is a system which is having 3 digits, point, how many? 5 digits in the fractional part, isn't it? So, this integer part will give you an idea of the range. This will give you an idea of the resolution, precision. So, this is where the compromise comes. If I have to go into a very, very small number in that particular application, my number system is such that the numbers are very small, nanoscale, microscale, then I have to allocate more here. But if my application is such that there are large numbers coming into the picture, I may have to do this. Okay. But the applications are there where you will have both large numbers and this one, there where you have to do variable formatting. We will see, we will look at that. So, in the case of the floating point, you again have, because there is a point, have something like that, base raised to the power of some exponent. So, you have this part called the mantissa and this called the exponent. We will represent the fixed point, that is what we will be using throughout in this fashion. The discrete real number is having 3 important parameters. The base, B is for the base, I is for the integer part, integer number of digits, you can call it as digits, and F is the number of digits allocated for the fractional part. Okay. And in the case of the floating point system, the representation will be like this. B again is the base, whether it is base 10, base 2, base 16. F is the number of fractional bits in the mantissa, and L and U are the lower bounds and the upper bounds of the exponent. Okay. Okay. One important character that you would see in the fixed point, the floating point system, is the relative density. So, in the case of the fixed point system, you see, if you take the scale, okay, scale is a fixed point system, all equispaced markings on that one. Okay. I have a number, the quanta are all, the quantizations are all equispaced. Something like this, if I take the scale and draw from -1000 to 1000, it will come in this fashion. But if you take the relative density, okay, if I take like a difference between two numbers divided by that number, okay, if I take difference between the number on the higher part of the scale, let us say close to 1000, in this scale it is a 1000 scale, close to 1000 at 900, difference between two tick marks divided by 1000 or divided by 900. the same thing, the same difference, so same delta difference divided by that number at the lower end of the scale will give you a larger relative error. Okay, so that is what we say as the non-uniform relative density, non-uniform relative error. Whereas in the case of the fixed point, the relative error is uniform throughout. Wherever you are taking the number, you will see that the density is changing. It is more dense closer down to the scale and then starts spreading out, because it is an exponent, right. It starts spreading out as it goes far away from the 0, this one. So, when you take a relative error at any point on the scale, divide by that number, the relative density or relative error would be same. That is the character of the floating point system. So, the representation wise, when you say that I have the fixed point system, some number x, can take any sign plus minus. So, the representation is like this. So, this is digit 0, there is a point to the left of that, all the integer bits you are representing in this fashion, digit 0, digit 1 to digit I minus 1. This I here representing the number of integer digits, okay. 0 to I minus 1, and f is representing the number of fractional digits. So, to the right of the point, to the right of the base point, minus 1, minus 2, so on. Because when you are calculating, evaluating it, you are doing it base to the power of 0, base to the power of 1, base to the power of I minus 1. This is 1 by base to the power of 1, 1 by base to the power of 2, 1 by base to the power of f, like that. Then you add it up, you get the value of the number in that respective base. So, where each of this digit is between 0 and base. So, if the base is 10, 0 and 9, if the base is 2, 0 and 1, like that. The base is hexadecimal, it will be from 0 to f. Likewise, in the case of the floating point, the representation is something like this, 0 point. So, these are normalized representation, this particular floating point here, where the mantissa, the integer portion of the mantissa is 0, or in some representation it is 1, it is declared. So, that is the normalized point. Then the fractional part will come into the picture, or 0 point fractional part coming into the picture. So, the normalized form is 0 point d1 should always be non-zero. In the floating point, let us say if I say normalized 0 point d1 should always be non-zero, and then you can have any fraction. So, that is what it means, that this is the highest or the most significant bit or byte or word, whatever it is, most significant digit, let us say. Then base to the power of e, e is the exponent, and the exponent will be between these two bounds, L and U. So, this is how the floating point number is represented. One problem with the normalized floating point number is you can't represent a 0, right. The moment I say normalized, d1 should always be non-zero. Everything you can represent, but you can't represent 0. So, for that you will have to relax the number system there. So, that is one issue you will have in the floating point. Another important problem that you will see in the floating point, which is not there in the fixed point, is there is this, see there is a, you find the 0, let us say 0 is representable, from 0 to the first tick mark, that is the first quantizable number, there is a gap, there is a sudden jump. So, you see that the density is going down, it does not go down to 0, it goes down to the minimum number, and from there is a sudden jump, always you will see that, and that is called the underflow hole. And there are quite significant, there is quite a significant part of the real number line which you cannot represent. So that is why it is called an underflow hole. It is also a disadvantage of the floating point system. And okay, when one is using the floating point system, all these are taken into account, corrections, but that is why the computation overhead is much higher. So when we do our microcontroller based algorithm, if your range you can accommodate within those bytes which you are having, then go for the fixed point. Floating point you go only if I am not able to accommodate the range, okay. Because this is much more efficient in terms of computational turnaround, and you can use a cheaper microprocessor or a cheaper microcontroller to get the same degree of performance that you expect. Okay, so that is one takeaway from this. So let us take this discrete fixed point system. That's what we will be using. This is an example. Okay, what is this? This is a base 10 system. It has two integer digits allocated to the left of the base 10 point, and two allocated to the right of the base 10 point. What it means? It means you have 4 digits available for you. In the base 10 system alone, we don't allocate a digit for sign. You could have plus or minus. So here this means that this is 4 digits, but in the binary, if okay, anyway, this has a range. You can compute the range from 99.99 to plus. This is coming external, but in the binary system, the sign also comes internal. So 1 bit you allocate for sign also in the case of the binary. So if I take this, just indicating that here it can take the value 1 1 to 0 1.1. Now this would actually be the sign bit in a binary system, okay, or a hex system. This is a how many bit number? This would be a 16-bit number. 3 plus 1, 4, and I have 4 bits to the left of the base point, okay, and 12 bits to the right of the base point, okay. So you can have f point FFF to 7 point FFF. Always remember, this point is in your mind. Never you will see the point in the microcontroller or anywhere. This is something that you have to keep tracking, and that is the crucial point in this fixed point system, where you have to track the point, okay. So let us see, just to get an idea of the fixed point arithmetic. You have 3 primitives: addition, subtraction, multiplication. If I am having these 3 primitives, I should be able to do most of the work, arithmetic work, okay. Of course, when you are using embedded C, these primitives are already there, okay. But the multiplication, when you do the multiplication, if you have to declare it as unsigned int, then probably the computation will be faster. It will use the fixed point arithmetic. Otherwise, it will start using the floating point arithmetic. So again, there the overheads will declare as use the numbers as either binary or hex, because then the mapping to the values in the register will be 1 to 1, and you will be able to recognize quickly what is happening in the various registers and memory locations when you are doing debugging. So addition and subtraction one aspect of it. So something like x1 plus or minus x2, okay, will result in y, okay. Now let us say that x1 is in this format, D, B, I, and F. What should be the format of X2? It has to be the same because you have to align the base points, okay, and then only start doing the addition. Okay. So these two will have to have the same format, okay. And what is the resultant format? Only that? Can it be anything else? Base is same, all are in the same base. Yes, so then it can become I plus 1 also. So you have to be careful when you are allocating the number system, numeric format for your microprocessor to account for this. Like even if you are using normalized point, let us say less than 1, anything above 0.5 plus anything above 0.5, or 0.6 plus 0.7 will be 1.3. So it can go beyond 1, right, even in addition or subtraction. Multiplication will always try to keep within the range. So in the case of the multiplication, the flexibility is much more. So you have x1, x2. Let us say I have x1 in the format B I1 F1. X2 should be in what format? Should it be in I1 F1 format? It can be any other format also. Okay, so let us say I2 F2. What will be the result? So the result will be I1 plus I2 and F1 plus F2 in the fractional part. Okay. But you have to track the base point. See, the base point here is different, the base point here is different in the result. So if you are going to do multiplication, every time you will have to track the base point and bring it to the base point that you wish to store in your memory location. So always in the memory location, keep a standard base point, keep a base point that you would want to have, default base point for your application. So whenever I go and put into the memory location, I would put it only in that base point. When I retrieve it, I take it in the base point. And when I do operations, I could have constants, all those things in different base points. Then again the result I will have to establish and readjust to put it in that file. Okay. So let us just see how we go about tracking the base point. Especially the problem is in the case of multiplication, because addition and subtraction there is no change in the base point from the fractional point of view. From the fraction it is the same, okay, whether it is with carry or without carry. So take this example. Let us say x1 is in this form. So this is a 5-digit number, 3 plus 2, this is a 5-digit number. You have 3 in the integer, 2 in the fractional part, okay. And another, I am expressing it in the same numeric format, 1032 format only, okay. 1032, 10 I have taken because that our mind thinks in terms of 10 and therefore be easier to understand, but same process applies whether it is 2 or 16. Okay. Now let us say that you want to multiply them. Okay, when you multiply them, you can use your calculator, you will see that you will land up with this, okay, 946.9236, okay, and this is in the format. The moment I give the format for x1 and x2, the format of the result is decided, which is I1 plus I2 6, F1 plus F2 4. Okay. Now this is actually put in a product register in most of the microcontrollers, right? It first comes to the accumulator, accumulator will shift it to the product register or the other way around, depends upon the architecture of that. So, this is in the accumulator or a product register, and it is actually like this, there is no point there. I have put a point here knowing what should be the answer. We know the answer and therefore I put the point, but the computer does not know that. So, this is what it has with it. Where to put the point is the decision. So, let us say the same problem. Okay, we have this result which is in the accumulator. Now, of course, everything there will be in binary. Okay, assume that this is a base 10 product register where each of the digit can go 0 to 9, but the concept is same. In the case of the microcontroller, each of the digit will go from 0 to 1. So, I have the LS byte and the MS byte, each is 5 digits long. Okay. So, I started with 5 digits into 5 digits, I landed up with 10 digits. If you are having a 16-bit data system, 16-bit into 16-bit, your product register will be 32-bit long. Okay. Now, let us say that I want to store the default in the memory location, I want to store in 1032 format. Okay. So, how do I take it out and then send it to the memory? So, I will have to take it from the accumulator and send it to the memory. I can't just send that directly like that. It is a double the size of my memory location. So, I will have to cut it into a 5-bit this one. So, I can't directly take the LSB or directly take the MSB, both would be wrong values, right. So, what you do is, one way is shift it right. I will shift it right 2 digits. Okay. Shift right 2 digits, and what do you get? You will get something like this. These two will go off. Okay. Now, LSB contains my closest value number. Now, will it fall into this 3-2 category? So, if I take 3, so the base point will be somewhere here, right. So, 946.92 is falling into the number format that I want. So, you pick this LSB because it is actually this part which you are taking. You pick the LSB and store it into the memory. So, now I know that I have multiplied two numbers 1032, 1032 format, the product register, it has resulted in 1064 format. So, you have to store it into the memory in 1032 format. So, I have right shifted and taken it out. Alternately, I could also shift it left. I will shift left 3. Okay. I will shift left 3 in this fashion, and this portion again is in 1032 format. It can be exported to the memory location. Okay. So, this MS bit you take and then put it into the memory location.
In this case, if the numbers are large, we have an MSB, let's say if it, instead of 946, they have 1000 something, then we will lose the MSB.
Where here?
Significant.
It will go beyond your saying.
In this case, the answer is 946 point something.
Exactly.
If it is 1000 point something, let's say the result was something like 1000 point something.
There will be a 1 here, let us say.
Yeah,
yes.
1 will be discarded.
Yes.
And we'll get.
No, I'll tell you. Here, in this particular example, I know what number of digits to shift. Okay. What is the generic way of shifting? I'll come to that. Okay. You can't just keep shifting by left by 3 and right by 2. You will get the wrong results always. In this case, it works. Okay. So, when a microcontroller has to do, how does it identify how much it should shift left or how much it should shift right? Okay. So, that is one thing which I want you to note. The same problem, okay, same problem, I have just changed some things here. What have I changed? As for a same problem, I am saying because the point is imaginary. As far as the microcontroller is concerned, it does not see the point. It is the same numbers, right. This is also 5 digits. Earlier case also it is 5 digits, right? But what I have done in my mind is that I have a point in a different place. And what I am saying is that is a 10 to 3 format, whereas x2 is 10, 3, 2 format, remaining in the same format 10, 3, 2, okay, base 10, 3 integer, 2 fractional, 2 integer, 3 fractional for x1. Okay. On multiplication, I will get 10, 5, 5 format. I am expecting 10, 5, 5 format, and this is what you would get. Of course, the point is not there. I will just mask the point like this with the mouse. The accumulator would see something like this, right? So, how do I take out and put into the memory in 1032 format? So, how many digits should I shift right or left? Okay, first you take shift right. How many digits should I shift right? 2 digits. If I shift 2 digits, I will have 9, 4 coming in like this. Can it be in 3.2 format? Then I will get back my 946 point, but I want 94 point. So, I have to shift it by 3 digits. Okay. So, look at the other number. See, when you are multiplying two numbers, one is a number normally coming from memory or some other register, let's say it is in some base point, and you want to express the result and put it back into one of the two numbers base point. Okay. Look at the format of the other number. Look at the format of the other number in which you don't want to put it as the base numeric format point. See this 10, 3, x1 if you take is 2, 2, 3. Okay. You take that other number's fractional digit and shift it right. Okay. So, if it is 3, you shift right 3. Okay. So, this is the generic thing that you will have to take. So, I am having the numeric format of both the numbers, okay, input. So, I know F1 is the numeric format of the number which is not in the base or default numeric format. I will take that numeric format, shift it to that, and then you will get. So, this I can express it in 3.2 format. I can store it in 3.2. Same way for left shift, how much I should left shift? I should left shift by 2, the other numeric format which is not the default numeric format. So, this you can take it out, take the LSB and store it. So, if you shift left, so I will shift left by 2, okay, I will shift left by 2, I1 digits. So, the generic program should take that and push it in this fashion. Now, I can take the MS bit and put it. So, that will be in 10.32 format in conformation with your other data in the memory. Okay. So, tracking base point is very, very important. So, this is one aspect that you will have to get used to as you are doing. So, now it comes, so I said 1032 when you are using your microcontroller, you may have a 8-bit system, you will have a 16-bit system or any other bit system. What numeric format should I go for? What numeric format should I use? Okay, this is a question which will always come when you are designing your application. Someone has already used it, easy to use that number format and then you can keep that. But when you are designing your application, you need to know what or how to decide that one. Okay. So, there are two things as I said, resolution is one thing, and the resolution for this number format is 1 by b to the power of f. Why do I say that? Let us see. This is a 8-bit system. Imaginary base point is here. So this is basically what is that? So if I give, okay, forget about this. If I give a number like this is actually okay, 1 0 in hex. But in that format, in this format, so it depends upon what I am going to take as 2 to the power of 0, right? If I just leave it like this, 2 to the power of 0, you will start taking 2 to the power of 0, 2 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 3, 2 to the power of 4. So we would say it is 1 into 2 to the power of 4. But the moment I say this is the point, I will say this is my 2 to the power of 0. Right? So it is 1, it is a number 1, the value. So if this is number 1, now what are all these? It is 02999, okay, imagine in terms of decimal, 0299 whatever, just less than 1. So what is this? Right. So that is what I have written, the resolution. This is the minimum that in this format, this is the minimum that I can represent. I can have a value this, and that value is equivalent to 1 by base to the power of f. Range, what is the range? So the range I can express it as in terms of b to the power of I. It is not exactly the exact range, but of the order of magnitude to the ith power, slightly lesser than that. Why do I say slightly lesser than that? What is this? 2 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 3. Okay. The highest range I would get is, right, add 1. Next step would be 1. Okay. But this is 2 to the power of 4. It will go up to 2 to the power, it is less than that one. So just one less than. So that is why I am saying it is not exact, but anyway it does not matter. You understand what it means. B to the power of I means it is less than that. Immediate one number, 1 bit less than that.
You can say something like b raised to power I minus 1 by b raised to power f.
Pardon me?
B raised to power I minus 1 by b raised to power f. I minus
Then
b raised to power I just.
Whole minus 1.
B
whole.
B raised to power I just I.
Oh, b raised to the power of I
minus
-1 like this.
minus 1 by b raised power f.
Ah, yes, you can do that, yes. Yes, you can do that, but it is a bit poor. You can say up to this. See, when if you can use that if you want to say less than or equal to, right? But it becomes so much more simpler if I use this symbol, isn't it? So yeah. Correct. So now what do I have here? B 2 and n minus 2. This is a very popular format which is used. Okay. Have an n digit system, allocate 1 digit for sign, and of course B is binary. Most of these cases B is binary or hex, and 1 digit for integer at least 1. Okay. And the remaining n minus 2 I keep it in the fractional. So which means I have the maximum that I can allocate for the fractional, because I want has greater precision. So I want my f to be large. Range, I know that I can never get range, so I will try to reduce I to the minimum. Okay. I could probably put it in this fashion, right? Let us say, can I use this? Highly, pardon me, sign bit is not there, that is one thing. So this is all unipolar, plus maximum value is 0.9999, okay, equivalently in decimal. You cannot go above unity, right? So if your application permits like that, all unipolar, and you are sure that there is not going to be negative values, then you could put maximum in precision. Okay, but very rarely you have applications where negative is not there. Probably you may have to think maybe temperature application where you are only measuring temperature, no subtraction allowed. So you could have all unipolar this one, but it's a very rare this one. What if, can I then have this? This will fail under some cases, but some cases it will. I can use this for sign bit, okay, and use 0 to 0.99. As I said, addition of numbers where both the numbers are greater than 0.5 will be a problem, because it cannot represent the result. Correct? If I am having 0.6 plus 0.75, I can represent x1, I can represent x2 in this format. I can't express the result in that format, because that is. So a bit more popular one, one that you would see much more is this. Not that you should not use these two formats. You're saying the applications are limited, but you have to be careful. When you use this, you have no issues in using this, except you have to be careful that you don't have overflows and underflows coming into the picture. Whereas this has a much wider application. It can take all values of addition and subtraction up to 0.999, okay, and multiplication normalized values of normalized values you can multiply, still be within the range. So, here if you see addition, subtraction, multiplication, all of them can be expressed in this format, and even the results can be expressed in this format without any problem. Then you can also have sign. So, this will be your sign bit plus or minus 1 or 0. So, from here to here you can go up to 1.11111 plus or minus. So, you have plus minus 2, I would say, in equivalent of decimal I will say plus minus 2, or should I say plus minus 1.9999, like that, slightly lesser than. So, this is a popular format. So, that is why I said base 2 and n minus 2 is quite a popular format. It has lot of applications and it can handle many of them. You can use this 0 comma n also you can use, but under specific condition with care, because that gives the maximum precision. 0 comma n will give you the maximum precision. Of course, the resolution here you can compute. The range is b to the power of 1. So, for our binary 8-bit systems, try to use this 2 comma 6, okay, 1 integer bit and 6 fractional. 16-bit, we have found this to be a very nice numeric format. This is for your 16-bit. So, out of this will be 1 sign bit. So, you can go from, this is going to take 111, 7.999 plus minus, right. Decimal equivalent. So, this is actually 111.11111, implying can go up to 8. The next addition of 0.1 would result in 8. So, it can go plus minus 8 or plus minus 7.99. So, in the hex you will write it, represent it like this: 16 1 comma 3, okay, one would comprise of all these 4 bits. Yeah, one thing is that this 4 comma 12 can very nicely agree with your hex format also. Binary and hex interchangeably you can use without. Of course, if you use 2 comma 14, you will have to split the hex into binary, then only you can do, because in the hex I cannot split that. So, 4 comma 12 has that kind of thing, but it can go, when is the overflow occurring? 800% times. See, after 800% only overflow will occur. It can go up to, let us say I am normalizing the system, means I am dividing by the rated values. We will have a look at that later. I have an equation, the variables are there. So, I have IA, let us say IA divided by IA rated. So, is equal to IA normalized, let us say. IA normalized equals IA by IA rated. So, this will have a value in most cases less than 1 unless I am having current overshoots, right. So, this will be most of the time inside here. The bits that will be used is here. Whenever I am having a current overshoot, up to 800% time, it will be accommodated. Beyond that one, it will hit the overflow. Okay. So that is another advantage of this, but then you have lost the precision, because majority of the time, most of the time your system, this is going to be 0 0 0. I am not using the bits. So that is where you play around a bit with compromise with range and precision. Okay. So for 16 bits we have found this to be very useful, because many of the cases in our machine system we need to we will have torque overloads, current overloads, which go even up to 300% in this one. So you need to give some leeway. So 3 bits will come. If I have to have 1 0 0 also, 3 bits will come. So anyway, 3 bits, when you add, you have the excuse to go up to 800%. Right. Things like that one. Okay, we will come to that later in the next class. We will finish it in the next class.